Hello and welcome to my channel Lifestyle and Fashion Tea, and on this channel we talk about everything from health or wealth, fashion to reaction. And by it being Black History Month, and you know I love history, today my story is about Henrietta Lacks, the untold story. Let's get into it. Henrietta Lacks was born Loretta Pleasant on August 1st, 1920 in Roanoke, Virginia. At some point, she changed her name to Henrietta. After the death of her mother in 1924, Henrietta was sent to live with her grandfather in a log cabin that had been like slave quarters of a white ancestor's plantation. Henrietta shared a room with her first cousin, David Lax. They called him Day. In 1935, the cousins had a son they called Lawrence. Henrietta was 14 at the time. The couple had a daughter, Elsie, in 1939 and married in 1941. Henrietta and David moved to Maryland at the urging of another cousin, Fred Garrett. There they had 3 more children, David Jr., Deborah, and Joe. They placed their daughter Elsie, who was developmentally disabled, in the hospital for the Negro insane in Maryland. On February 1st, 1951, Lax went to Johns Hopkins Hospital after experiencing abnormal pain in her abdomen. Physician Howard Jones quickly diagnosed her with cervical cancer. During her subsequent radiation treatments, doctors removed 2 cervical samples from Lax without her knowledge. She continued to experience pain and returned to the hospital on August 8th, remaining there until her death weeks later. Lax transitioned on October 4th, 1951, at Johns Hopkins Hospital at the age of only 31. A partial autopsy revealed the cancer had taken over her body throughout. Lax was buried at an unmarked grave in her childhood home of Clover, Virginia. Her son David noted how rain had poured from the sky as if heaven was weeping for his mother. HeLa cells. HeLa cells, the cells that were taken from Henrietta Lacks. The cells from Lack's tumor made their way to the lab of researcher Dr. George Otto Gray. Gray noticed an unusual quality in the cells. Unlike most cells, which survive only a few days, Lack's cells seemed to be more durable. Gray isolated and multiplied a specific cell, creating a cell line. He dubbed the resulting sample HeLa, derived from the name Henrietta Lacks. The HeLa strain revolutionized medical research. Jonas Salk used the HeLa strain to develop polio vaccine, sparking a mass interest in the cells. As demand grew, scientists cloned the cells in 1955. Since that time, over 10,000 patents involving the HeLa cells have been registered. Researchers have used the cells to study disease and to test human sensitivity to new products and substances. More recently, the cells enabled the development of COVID-19 vaccines. In February 2010, Johns Hopkins released a statement concerning the cervical samples that were taken from Lax without her consent. Johns Hopkins Medicine sincerely acknowledges the contribution to advances in biomedical research made possible by Henrietta Lacks and HeLa cells. It is important to note that at the time the cells were taken from Mrs. Lack's tissue, the practice of obtaining informed consent from cell or tissue donors were essentially unknown among academic medical centers. 60 years ago, there was no established practice of seeking permission to take tissue for scientific research purposes. The laboratory that received Mrs. Lack's cells had arranged many years earlier to obtain such cells from any patient diagnosed with cervical cancer as a way to learn more about a serious disease. A disease that took the lives of so many. Johns Hopkins never patented HeLa cells, nor did it sell them commercially or benefit in a direct financial way. Today, Johns Hopkins and other research-based medical centers consistently obtain consent from those asked to donate tissue or cells for scientific research. But you did not do that for the Lax family. You took her cells without her knowing, and neither did her family know. Let's continue. The immortal life of Henrietta Lacks. The Lax family learned about the HeLa cells in the 1970s. In 1973, a scientist contacted family members seeking blood samples and other genetic materials. But inquiries from the family regarding the HeLa cells and publications that included their own genetic information were largely ignored. The case gained new visibility in 1998 when the BBC screened an award-winning documentary on Lax in the HeLa cells. Rebecca Skloot later wrote a popular book on the subject called The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. Oprah Winfrey and HBO released a film based on Skloot's book, and in 2017, the network aired the biopic. Lack's son, David Jr., son Joe, and granddaughter Jerry consulted on the film, and Skloot was a co-executive producer. The film, which starred Winfrey as Lack's daughter Deborah and Rose as Skloot, was nominated for an Emmy Award for Outstanding Television Movie. Organizations that have profited from HeLa have since publicly recognized Henrietta Lacks' contributions to research. Johns Hopkins has committed to naming a new building scheduled for completion in 2025, and I believe this is the building. Morgan State University granted Lacks an honorary degree, and in 2010, Dr. Roland Patillo from Morehouse donated a headstone where she had an unmarked grave. The Lacks family has also been honored at the Smithsonian Institute and the National Foundation for Cancer Research. Legal and ethical implications. The HeLa case raised questions about the legality of using genetic materials without permission. Neither Lacks nor her family granted permission to harness her cells, which were then cloned and sold. The Lacks family had limited success in gaining control of the HeLa strain. In August 2013, An agreement between the family and the National Institute of Health granted the family acknowledgement in scientific papers and some oversight of the lax genes. Lawsuit and settlement. In October 2021, Lax Estate filed a lawsuit against biotechnology company Thermo Fisher Scientific Incorporated, based in Massachusetts. It accused the company of selling her cells without her knowledge or consent as part of a racially unjust medical system and demanded Thermo Fisher give up the full amount of profits obtained by Henrietta Lacks cells. On August 1st, 2023, what would have been Henrietta's 103rd birthday, a lawyer for the Lacks estate said a confidential settlement was reached after a full day of closed-door negotiations inside a federal courthouse in Baltimore. There couldn't have been a more fitting day for her to have justice for her family and to have relief. Henrietta's grandson, Alfred Locks Carter Jr., said, "It was a long fight, over 70 years, and Henrietta Lacks gets her day." Yes, the family fought for justice and won. This is a statue of Henrietta Lacks in her hometown, Roanoke, Virginia. Let me also say that Lack cells, or the HeLa cells, have contributed to a wide range of diseases, not just the cervical cancer, but cancer as well, AIDS, polio, HPV, and more. And most recently, the COVID-19. Wow, what an amazing story. Thank you guys for watching and listening. And as every day, we try to learn something new and something different on the way out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And anything that you can donate to the channel, to the Cash App right there, go on and do it. Thank you.